Hi, welcome to today's session. In this class, we're going to discuss about the concept SS/MIME. S indicates what? Secure. MIME indicates what? Multi-purpose internet mail extension. So why we need SS/MIME? Okay, because to provide security for the commercial email services, we're going to use SS/MIME. Earlier, RFC 822, it is used to send only the text messages. Now we're going to use the MIME. It is based on the technology RSA data security. Since SS/MIME is more secure, so we can send the multi-part messages like voice, text, video, image, etc. with encoding of binary data to textual form. So this is what more secure because it is built on what RSA data security. Next, we're going to see about what multi-purpose internet mail extension. Slash MIME, we need to understand about MIME. So in next slide, that is multi-purpose internet mail extension, how it works. So here MIME agent is there. What MIME will do, it's going to be convert the data which is in the non-ASCII code. So that is it going to be received through user agent. Okay, it is given by the user. Okay, through user agent it's going to receive the non-ASCII code of the data and going to be convert into 7-bit ASCII code. Okay, it's going to transfer the content in terms of 7-bit ASCII, right? For converting into 7-bit ASCII we need what? MIME. Right now I need to send this 7-bit ASCII to the receiver, so that's why I need what? A mobile transfer agent. Through mobile transfer agent I'm going to send this 7-bit ASCII at the receiver side. Now again at the receiver side also, for collecting this 7-bit ASCII data I'm going to be again use mobile transfer agent. Now this mobile transfer agent is going to deliver this 7-bit ASCII code to the MIME at the receiver side. What MIME will do at the receiver side? Again, it's going to convert 7-bit ASCII code into non-ASCII code and it is sent to the receiver through the user agent. This is how MIME works. So for converting the 7-bit, for converting the non-ASCII code into 7-bit ASCII code, we're going to use what? MIME. Okay, that is what multi-purpose internet mail extension, that is MIME technology. Then MIME specification, it includes the following things. One is what? 5 message headers. Okay, one is what? 5 message headers. Then why we need this 5 message headers? So it may be included in RFC 832 in header format, and it this field, okay, that is what 5 message headers, it's going to provide the information about the body of the message. So this 5 message headers, what it is there, that is some MIME version, content type, content transfer encoding, then content ID, and then content description. This one it going to be provide what information about the body of the messages, right? Then first thing is what? MIME version. Generally that MIME version, it is what? Fixed, that is 1.0. Then second thing is what? Content type. Content type, it is nothing but what? It is the type of the content, that is maybe audio message or video message or text message. It describes the data content in the body. Then content transfer coding, it will give the representation of the data. Okay, that is what content transfer coding, it will give the representation of the data, either it, in terms of 7-bit ASCII code, 8-bit ASCII code, like that. So it provides the reliable delivery across the largest range of the environments. That is what content transfer coding. Then content ID, what is, why we need to use for that is content ID? It is used to identify the MIME entities uniquely. To identify the MIME entities uniquely, we need what? Content ID. Then content description, why we need this content description? It will provide the textual description about the object. Suppose if the object is in the not in the readable format, that's why it will give the textual description about the content. That is what content description. So this all these fields, it provide information about the body of the messages. That is what 5 message headers. One is mime version is what 1.0. Content type it will give the type of the content, that is audio, video, or image, anything. It will describe the data contained in the body. Then content transfer coding, it will give the representation of the data, that is in 7-bit ASCII data, or in the what 8-bit ASCII data, so that it provides what reliable delivery across the what the largest range of the environment. Then content id is nothing but what it is used to identify the MIME entities uniquely. For that, we need what content ID. Then content description, it provides the distilled description about the object that is present within the body. This is useful whenever the object is not in the readable format. That's why we're going to use content description. So what we going to get, this all these fields, it provides information about the body of the message. Next is what number of the content formats. Okay, that number of the content format, what will give, it will give the what standardizing the representations. Okay, representations, it is in the what it is in standardized format, right? Standardizing the representation, it whatever the that representation, it's going to support the multimedia electronic mail. Okay, so a number of the content formats 5 required for standardizing the representation. It supports multimedia electronic mail. Then transfer encoding, already we know that is to provide the reliable delivery across the largest range of the environment. We need what a transfer encoding, either in terms of 7-bit ASCII code or 8-bit ASCII code, like that. This is what MIME specifications. Next thing is what SBA MIME functionality. It is similar to what a PGP. PGP already we learned in the previous class. You please go through that my YouTube channel. That is a pretty good privacy. For more details, it is similar to the what a PGP. That is pretty good privacy. It offers ability to sign and or encrypt the messages. Ability to sign and or encrypt the messages means what it provides. First thing, that is um, authenticity. That's why ability to sign and or encrypt the messages means what it provides the confidentiality. PGP, it provided both authenticity as well as confidentiality. It is similar to PGP. Both we can use. That is for the email services. So here SMIME, it provides more security enhancements. How it provides more security enhancement? Yeah, there are four some things. Four things are there. That is what envelope data, signed data, clear signed data, signed and envelope data. Whatever the applications, for that applications, whatever the security you need, you can use that type of security. First thing, with respect to enveloped data, what that envelope data contain? Okay, envelope data contains what? That is the encrypted content. That is what encrypted content means, what data it is in the form of encrypted form, right? And whatever the key used for the encryption, that key is also associated with that content. So envelope data contains what are all the things? One is encrypted content and associated keys. Means whatever the data it is in there, that is data is for encryption. First we're going to use any encryption algorithm. I am going to encrypt the data, and whatever the key used for that encryption algorithm, that is also associated with that. So this one is what enveloped data. The second thing is what a signed data. Signed data, it provides what authentication. As the name indicates, signed data means what someone is signing for that data. Okay, so here for that signed data, one is encoded message. Message is in the form of encoded format. Okay, first thing is what encoded message plus whatever the message digest is there. Message digest you got from the what hashing algorithms. So whatever the hash code is generated, again that hash code or again that message digest, you going to be encrypt by using what? Private private key of the sender. Okay, again you going to encrypt the hash code by using what private key of the sender, that is what signed message digest, along with what encoded message that is there with respect to signed data. Okay, signed data contains what are all the things? One is encoded message plus a signed message digest. Then clear signed data. Okay, here this one is also related to same as signed data, but here clear signed data, it will also provide the authentication, but here only the signature part is there. Okay, means what? One is clear text message plus encoded signed text, whatever the hash code you are getting, for that you going to be encrypt by using the privates, uh, by using private key of the sender. Okay, whatever the hash code is there, that hash code is going to be encrypted by using private key of the user, private key of the sender. Okay, that one, that assigned message digest plus clear text message, it is there with respect to clear signed data. And signed and the envelope data, it contains both envelope data and plus and the signed data details. That's why signed and envelope data. Okay, the here we're going to nest that envelope data and the signed data. Means encrypted data I can sign here, whatever the data is encrypted, now I can sign that encrypted data. And whatever the signed data is there, whatever the signed data is there, again I am going to be encrypt. Means what? Nesting operation I am going to be provide here. Okay, encrypted data may be signed, or signed data may be encrypted, or both we can do. Encrypted data means whatever the data is there, first I am going to be encrypt, then I am going to be signed. And whatever the signed data is there, whatever the signed data is there, that is message digest, again I am going to be encrypt, right? Okay, that both nesting operation, both you can do also, that is what nesting operation. So this is with respect to what we're going to see with respect to Mozilla and all those things. This and S bar MIME, it's going to support the many mail agents, for example, MS Outlook, Mozilla, Mac Mail, etc. This is what S bar MIME that is using in MS Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, Mozilla, and all those things. So for providing the more security enhancement, we're going to use SS/MIME. One is envelope data. Already we know that is it contains encrypted content and the associated keys. Signed data. Signed data is what? Encoded message plus the signed message digest. Clear signed data means what? Clear text message plus encoded signed digest. Signed and the envelope data. What are all the things is the nesting operations with respect to signed and the envelope data, right? This is S bar SS/MIME functionality. This is how MIME message structure. So first thing is what? MIME version. Next, subject, from address to address, subject, content type. Content type already I said, that is what? Multi-part. Flash mixed, that is the type of the message. It's going to support the various messages, that is a text message, audio, video, all those things. So this is what body of the message. Lastly, I am going to be encode with respect to base 64. This is what it looks, and that is what my message structure. And then what are all the cryptographic algorithms used in the SS/MIME? We're going to learn this thing. One is with respect to function, and another one is with respect to requirement. Here we need to learn two keywords, and one is what? Must, and another one is what? Should. Okay, must means what? That is absolute requirement of the specification. Must and should, that for that implementation I need this algorithm. That is what? Must, absolute requirement of the specification. So implementation must and should include this feature. Then what about should? It might be for some reason we can use that algorithm also, or we can ignore that feature also. That is with respect to should. Must means what? Compulsory, you need to implement that thing. For example, for creating the message digest, whatever the message digest, from that message digest you're going to use to form a digital signature. For creation of the message digest, you need to use must and should SHA-1 algorithm. Okay, must and should, you need to support what? SHA-1 algorithm. But receiver, it should support MD5 for backward compatibility. That is, it might be okay, it might be use MD5 for backward compatibility. Then Second thing is what encrypted message digest. Whatever the message digest is there, for that message digest, I need to encrypt that message digest to form any digital signature. To form the digital signature, first what I'm going to encrypt the message digest. Here, both sending and the receiving agent both must support DSS algorithm. Digital signature standard algorithm I'm going to use. That is what with respect to DSS. Sending and the receiving agent must not support, they're going to use DSS algorithm. Sending agent, it should support, maybe it's going to support the what are all the algorithm, RSA encryption algorithm, or and the receiving agent should support verification of the RSA signature with the key sizes 512 bits to 1024 bits, but it must both the sending and the receiver's agent must should support which algorithm, DSS. Because I am going to be encrypt the message digest using what public key encryption scheme, right? So these are all the things we learned in the what earlier classes. That is with respect to PGP also we learned this thing. Then encrypted session key for transmission with the message. So that is what encrypted session key. Now what I am going to doing, that is what session key. Why we need session key? During the symmetric encryption algorithm we need what session key, right? Now I am going to be encrypt that session key for transmission with the particular message. So for that what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the public key encryption scheme. Okay, for encrypting the session key, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the public key encryption scheme. That's why sending and the receiving agent, it should support DFLMAN. Either it's going to support, that is what DFLMAN, but sending and the receiving agent must and should support the RSA encryption algorithm with the key sizes 512 bits to 1024 bits. This is the must and should. That is what RSA encryption. Because why I am going to encrypting the session key. Okay, session key with respect to that is symmetric encryption. But whatever the session key used during the symmetric encryption, now I am going to encrypt the session key. For encrypting the session key, I need what public key encryption scheme. That's why I'm going to use the either DFLMAN or the RSA encryption algorithm. But both here with respect to this one, sending and the receiving agent must and should support the RSA encryption algorithm. Then next thing is what encrypt message for the transmission with the one-time session key. Whatever the message is there, now I am going to encrypt that particular message for the transmission with the one-time session key. For that, both sending and the receiving agent must support what algorithm, that is triple DS algorithm. Must and should support that sending and the receiving agent, both they should support that is triple DS algorithm. Sending agent, it should support encryption with the AES, or sending agent, it should support encryption with RCT /40. This one also they can use. Okay, this is with respect to symmetric encryption, because you are encrypting the message with the what one-time session key. So that here you're going to use the concept symmetric encryption, so that you're going to use the symmetric encryption algorithm. That's why sending and the receiving agent must and should support the triple DS algorithm. Our sending agent should support the encryption with AES. Our sending agent should support the encryption with RC2/40. For creating the message authentication code, that is what MAC. So receiving agent must and should support HMAC with SHA1. Please remember this thing. For creating the message authentication code, receiving agent must and should support the HMAC with the SHA1, or sending agent should support HMAC with the SHA1. So these are all the function and the requirement. For this function, I need this requirement, that is with respect to must and should. Here, that needs to be followed by the sending agent to finalize the encryption algorithm, so that the receiving entity capable of decrypting the encrypted data. So first rule, what it says, if the sending agent already having the list of the preferred decrypting capabilities, this one is going to be given by the intended recipient. So what sending agent will do, in that list he going to select the based on what IS preference capability. So he going to choose that particular encryption algorithm, so that the receiver is easy to decrypt the data easily. So he going to choose that type of the encryption algorithm. This is one choice. This is the first rule. So first rule, what it says, if the sending agent already is having the list of the preferred decrypting capabilities that is given by the receiver. What sender will do, he going to choose in that list, based on what highest preference he going to select the encryption algorithm, then he going to finalize that encryption algorithm for encrypting the data. Second choice is what, second rule what it says, if the sending agent has no such list of the capabilities. Suppose receiver is not given any list of the decrypting capabilities to the sender. At that time, what sender will do, based on the what the previous message sent by the receiver. So receiver he used the encryption algorithm for that messages. Then he going to send the data to the what a sender. That same encryption algorithm, whatever the encryption algorithm used at the receiver, okay, for encrypting the data. Now same algorithm, now sender he going to use, he going to take that algorithm for encrypting the data. He going to finalize that encryption algorithm based on the receivers what are sent messages. Then third rule what it says, if the sending agent suppose is not having any knowledge about the decryption capabilities, at that time what sending, if I don't want to take any risk, at that time he should use the triple ds algorithm. Fourth rule what it says, if the sending agent has no knowledge about the decryption capabilities and he will not take any risk, at that time he must and should use the RC2/40. So these are the four rules to be followed by the sending agent to finalize the encryption algorithm. Next thing, that is SS/MIME messages. So SS/MIME messages, it makes use of a number of the new MIME content types. If the what if you are using the clear sign message, that clear sign message it is divided into two parts, if, you know, right? One is what clear text message and another one is what signature used here. So suppose if you are using the message type, that is what multi-part, and suppose if you are using the clear sign message, at the time you're going to use the subtype as signed. Then if you are using the application type messages, then if you are using the signed as a MIME entity, at that time you can choose the PKCS, that is what public key crypto system, that is issued by the RSA laboratory, that is the version 7 and MIME. Now you can pass a parameter for, that is what since you are using signed S/MIME entity, so you can use the parameter signed data, right? And another thing is what, if you are using an encrypted, so in an encrypted SS/MIME entity, at that time you can choose public key crypto system, same thing, but you can choose the parameter envelope data. Suppose if the entity containing only public key certificates, at that time you can choose the subtype, that is public key crypto system 7 MIME. Then parameter is what, degenerate signed data. Suppose if you are using the compressed SS/MIME entity, at that time you can use the subtype as public key crypto system 7 MIME, that is same for all the four things. That is what, signed data, envelope data, degenerate signed data, and here compressed entity is there, so obviously compressed data. Then last one is what, suppose if you are using that the content type of the signature subpart of the multipart or signed message, at that time you can use the public key crypto system 7 signature and the signed data as the SMIME parameter. So this is what with respect to SS/MIME messages. In next class we're going to see with respect to more details about SBA MIME messages regarding envelope data and signed data and all those things. Okay, thank you for today's class.